Hey everybody, this is Justin from the Entertainment Outlet, and I'm here with the one and only Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest. Richie, how you doing?
Justin, it's been a while, but it's good to finally talk to you again. And
Yeah,
yeah, it's good to be here. Good to be talking to you about all things Priest. And it's exciting to be talking about what we're going to be talking about. So it's great to be here, bro.
yeah, for sure. It's been an unlucky couple of years. First we had the pandemic, and then your heart basically exploded on stage. We can see the big scar right there from it. And
This wasn't intentional. I've just seen it. I don't know if this is audio, this is video as well, but it looks like I'm showing it off. But I mean, not that I'm trying to hide it or anything, but it does. I do look like a bit of a douchebag. Like, look at my scar. I've
hey, if you
actually
got
just
it,
got back
flaunt
from
it.
cardiac rehab. Do you know today is the actual? It's like my second birthday today. Today is the day a year ago that it happened. It was the
I should have brought
26th.
cake.
Do you know what? You should have, man. What's going on? It was a year ago today that it all went down, and I've actually just got back from cardiac rehab. I don't know if not a lot of people know this, but I actually had to go back in about 5-6 weeks ago and have another open heart surgery.
Wow.
A long story short, they found something in there just before our European tour. The surgeons were okay with me doing the European tour, but there was a leak. They found a leak in there from the first surgery.
Yikes.
So I through Europe with this leak, and it was creating like a sac. A long story, I'm boring you, but it's all because of the first surgery which happened a year ago today.
No.
So I went through Europe with this sac and a leak going on. So when we got back from Europe, literally 2 days later, I had to go back in the hospital, and I had to go back in there and get the plug the leak, get the sac out, because the sac was around the heart,
Right.
So I've gone through recovery again. I've just got back from cardiac rehab, but the doctors and the surgeons were okay with me in the recovery time, so that we're able to get back out, obviously, on October 13th to kick off the US leg. But it's been, as you said, it's been a weird few years with COVID, and the last year has been a whirlwind. And literally the last few weeks has been back from Europe, straight under the, under the mask and into the chest, and the chest burst. No, but so it's been a wild ride, man. So I had a friend of mine, actually, our old tour manager, called me up and wished me a happy birthday. I'm like, it's not my birthday. He said, well, it kind of is, because because of what happened. It's like you got a second lease on life. So I guess he's kind of right. So here we are, grateful to be here.
Yeah, we're all very happy you're still with us.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate you saying that.
And then up here in New England, we had a second run of bad luck, or a third run of bad luck, I guess, this past spring when Alfred was feeling ill and you guys had to cancel the Lowell date.
Yes.
We're hoping for good health for all of you guys.
Hopefully we're all out the woods now, and we can just, get our heads down. And, we've had some good luck too. There's been a lot of bands that have been affected by, not only COVID, but, general illness and, different things like that. But the last, Europe, we were unaffected by anything. We were pretty steadfast, and we got the whole tour done. Apart from that Lowell date, as you mentioned, on that North American run, we were pretty unscathed through all of that, North America and Canada. So we've been pretty lucky on that sense as well. Obviously,
For sure.
some things we can't get around, and for the sake of the band and the crew and the fans as well, we have to pull things. We had to pull that Lowell show.
Yeah.
There was no way around it.
We all get sick sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we've been pretty lucky, and hopefully, this next tour, this next leg in the US will be a continuation of that. Good luck.
Yeah, we've all got our fingers crossed. So Priest is soon to be inducted in the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that is, and the band is celebrating more than 50 years of heavy metal, and you've been a part of that for over a decade now. Now, when you first signed up for the band, it was at the time being viewed as a farewell tour. Could you imagine at all that 10 years later you'd still be here representing Priest? And do you have any standout memories from that decade?
I mean, to answer the first question, absolutely not. I remember Glenn telling me, like, he wishes he could tell me that, you know, we've got, you know, 5 or 6 years left, but this is the farewell tour. He wishes he could tell me we had longer, you know. I can see how it becomes infectious. You know, you do a tour and it kind of, I've said this before, but it becomes, you know, it fires you up to do more original songs. So we did Redeemer of Souls, and then obviously you do the record and that fires you up to do a live tour with these new songs, and then the cycle repeats, you know. Right. So I can see firstly how they've done it for 50 years, you know, that kind of that excitement kind of, but that's just within the band. And then you kind of add to that the fans and the legacy and the passion and the traveling and the countries, and you know, the passion from the fans and all that, and you can see how that goes on for 50 years. So I had no idea that, you know, I mean, I think it was 2011 that I joined. My memory's not what it used to be. So yeah, it's over 10 years now. So as I said, he was very upfront about it, and he said that he wishes that he could tell me it was going to be longer, and it turned out that it was longer, you know. So I'm very fortunate. I think we're all very fortunate in that regard, that we've still got Priest out there rocking and rolling and creating new music. So no, I'm very happy to be there. I'm very grateful that Priest is still out there. And the second part of your question, I can't remember what it was. That was such a long-winded answer.
Do you have any standout memories from the decade?
Many. I remember one of my first memories from rehearsals was when Halford showed up for the first time, because I think we did a week of music rehearsals without Rob, just to get all the musical parts nailed. And then Rob showed up a week later, and I remember when he showed up, and you know, when that voice goes on top of everything, it was just, it was, yeah, I mean, it was the same reaction as you just had, really. It was almost, it wasn't funny, but it was like, it was so endearing, and like, that's the voice that, like, we've grown up with. It was almost funny. Like, it was funny to be in a room and the voice is coming from there, not from the speaker. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable. It was almost unreal, to the point of I had to laugh. You know, and I remember that. I'm getting chills thinking about it. And then there were memories like, there was the first show we did was a small show in Tilburg, Holland, and then the second show was the first big one we did at Sweden Rock, and I think the first show was maybe 4,000 or 5,000 people. The second one I think was around 30,000. So it was the first big one we did. It was a festival, Sweden Rock Festival, and Rob came out on the bike, and we had a big ego ramp that juts out into the crowd, you know, which we don't normally have. So the bike was on, and it was spewing fire, not fire, but like smoke, and you know, it was loud and smelly, and he drove this bike down the ego ramp, and it was raining. And if you can imagine, from my point of view, I'm looking out from behind Rob, and I can see the back of the bike, and the lights were blinking. He was there in his leather and his studs, and he had his horns in the air, and I think he had his crop, you know, his horse crop, and it was raining, and the lights and the smoke, and 30,000 people in front of him. And I just remember thinking, this is real, you know, however unreal this image seems. And I can't take a photo of this, and it almost made it more valuable, because I couldn't show anyone. I couldn't post it on social media or anything like that. It was my memory. It was my image that I was seeing, and it was going to go, and it kind of made it more special. And I'll always remember that as the moment that it was so unreal, but it became real for the first time, you know?
Yeah, it sounds pretty amazing.
It was ridiculous, just like larger than life, you know?
And so in the 10 years, you've left your mark on 2 amazing Priest albums. We've been hearing bits and pieces about you guys working on a new album. Anything new to update with on that? What we can look forward to?
We're getting there. I think I've said bits and pieces before. You know, we've been trying to get it done. I think the first obstacle was the pandemic. because
Of
we
course.
couldn't get together and do it, do it as a group. And then when the pandemic restrictions were lifted, then we could go out on tour. So the next obstacle, if you want to call it that, was the tour. So we had to go out on tour and record bits and pieces in between the tour legs. So we got drums done, we got guitars done, we got the bass done. I think the main thing we have to do now is vocals. But now, so we've got the US leg of the tour coming up. So Rob's got to protect his voice and use his voice sparingly for that. So maybe after that, I mean, we've got the US and we've got South America, which takes us into December. So maybe in the new year we can start working on vocals. It's always tough to talk about time frames because, as we know, things change.
Right.
But Rob always says, it's done when it's done. There's no point rushing anything in this point of the band's career. But it's getting there. We're working on it, and it's getting there, and we're using the time we've got. And these days as well, we don't need 18 months in a 10,000 square foot studio in Fiji to do a record. The way things are these days, we can do it in a lot more economical way. So we're making technology work, and we're making all that work for us, so we can get it done in the best way, the best way we can, so we can get it out when we can. But it'll be done when it's done. But it's sounding. Andy Sneap was texting me this morning, producer Andy Sneap, and he was saying it sounded really solid, really confident. He was saying, I know people love this stuff on the socials, but it's not Firepower 2. It's like its own thing. Some people might like that. Some people might hate that. It's funny when you read the socials, people read comments like that and they know what the album sounds like straight away. Like, I don't know how they do that, but it's all good. It means that they're invested in Priest and they invested in the new music. So it's sounding, as you said, it sounds confident. It's sounding great and solid. So it's always good as well when you've got something like this and no one's heard it. So you're excited to release it to the world. You want the world to hear it, but they haven't heard it yet. So it would be great for the world to hear. They might hate it, but it's still exciting.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to hearing it. Last year, before your heart exploded at Louder Than Life, you guys had Kirk Hammett up on stage to play Green Manalishi, and fittingly, he was playing Greenie.
Yes.
So my question is, did you get a chance to play Greenie at all?
I didn't. During that song, he took my hand and he sort of brushed it over the strings, because I think I went over to him and I touched it, and then he kind of grabbed my hand and really raked over the strings on it. That was maybe it was Greenie. Maybe Greenie did it. Maybe Greenie, it was too much for my heart to bear.
There's the headline.
But it's one of those guitars. I always get it's like Kirk wasn't being precious with it, and I think that's the.
And I think some people are critical of him for not being precious with this, but I think it's great that it's out there, that fans are getting to hear it, that it's not sitting in some collector's closet.
I 1,000% agree. It's had a headstock break. It's one of those guitars that isn't completely original. I think what people forget about these legendary guitars is the music that has been made on them. Mm-hmm. That's what makes them legendary. Some of these pristine collector's pieces that, they're worth X amount for the nuts and bolts, but they haven't made any music, So it's all about what you put on them. I mean, you could buy a guitar. I mean, I wasn't a big fan of the grunge movement, but Kurt Cobain wasn't a technical player, but he could buy a $200 guitar, and it was about what he had to say on it. He created a movement with what he had to say. It wasn't about how much his guitar cost. You know what I mean? So it's about what you have to say. I think you can. Doesn't matter what your guitar costs or if it's original. If you've got something to say, I'm repeating myself, but it doesn't matter how much it costs or whether it's original or not. It's about your voice.
Right. So I saw the band on the Firepower tour in 2018 and 2019. And one of the things that really impressed me was that between the two shows, you only repeated maybe 2 or 3 songs. You know, you're touring the new album. There's the mandatory. We've got to play 4 songs off the album, but each year it was 4 different songs. And even a lot of the big hits, like you didn't play You Got Another Thing Coming the second time. And I think that took a lot of guts to really come out and just play completely different set of material the next year. So with that said, I was wondering, are there any big changes coming, you know, with the set list coming up on your upcoming tour? Anything we can look forward to there?
Yeah, I mean, we're very aware that, you know, you do 2 or 3. I think the Firepower, we did actually 3 legs in the US.
Yeah.
This is our second leg in the US. Again, I think we're aware, you know, if people are going to come again, a lot of, you know, people want value for money. They work hard, they buy their tickets, and, you know, a lot of them don't want to see the same show. And you've got to give them something different if they're going to buy another ticket. I think that's a valuable thing. You know, that's a you know, if I go and get another ice cream, actually ice cream's a bad example because I like the same flavor, but you know, you get my point. So I think it's valuable to bear in mind, you know, what can we do differently? What can we do to give a different experience? You know, a different ticket. And I would appreciate that. And I think there's a lot of bands that do that, like Metallica. They change the set, give a different experience. You never know what you're going to get. Obviously, with the internet as well, you can look up what set list it is. Before you didn't know, but
Right.
you know, it makes it a bit harder. But we like to change things. So we've got a few different songs going in there this time. There are some classics, but you know, we've got some songs going in, like, you know, I think it's the 40th anniversary or thereabouts of Screaming for Vengeance. So we want to put a couple of songs in there from that record, like the title track. We want to put Screaming for Vengeance in there again, which we haven't done for a few years.
Yep.
I think we've got Riding on the Wind in there. What else have we got? We've got Between the Hammer and the Anvil going in there.
Nice.
Which I don't think I've done with the band before. We've got Never the Heroes from the Firepower album, which we haven't done before. I think we released it as a single, but we've never done it live, so that would be interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're switching it up a bit. Steeler, I think, is going in. We know these days value for money is an important thing. I know it's kind of, it's heavy metal and it's music, but it's people's money. It's
Right.
what they work hard to. They're going to buy your ticket over something else, and that's a valuable thing. That's a great thing. We appreciate that. So what can we do to make it a little bit different? And it's fun for us too. You know, especially as Priest fans, you know, especially
Definitely.
me and Andy and Scott, you know, we grew up on that stuff. So it's like, what
Right.
can we do? You know, Alter Be Wise is another one as well that, you know, we're looking at. That's a great one. So yeah, that's what we're looking at. What other ones can I give you? I can't remember. Again, my memory's not.
Well, we'll keep some secrets for people. We don't want to spoil it all yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Well, we're looking forward to it. I hope to be at the Boston show next month.
Brilliant, yeah.
Great. It's a brand new venue up in Boston. It's awesome. So looking forward to seeing you guys there.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. I mean, we haven't got long left really. What's the date today? It's the 26th today. So we've got what?
It's a couple more weeks.
Yeah, not long.
Yeah.
So yeah, really looking forward to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Richie. We'll see you guys soon.
Justin, looking forward to it, man. Stay well, and yeah, we'll see you in a few weeks.
Rock on.
Cheers, brother. Bye now.